Now, let's talk about the man they call the Argentinian Trump. President Javier Milei has been in the job only a couple of months, but he's taking some bold action to fix what has gone from, well, Argentina's gone from being one of the wealthiest nations to an absolute economic basket case with inflation running at 250%. And now, incredibly, Ralph, there are reports that he has just overseen the nation's first monthly budget surplus in over a decade. And I think I've got an idea how he did it. Do you remember this?
Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera, aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación, afuera. Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social, afuera.
Ralph, how do you judge Javier Milei's performance thus far? I know it's very early days.
No, but you have to kind of admit there's a certain delicious irony that about 40 years after the Argentinians lost the Falkland Wars against Margaret Thatcher's Britain, they basically got now their own Margaret Thatcher. I mean, they do share a certain hairstyle together, so that's probably one of the many things that they share in common. No, I think he means it. I mean, this was always, we have one big disappointment in Europe, I believe, that's Giorgia Meloni, where the expectations were high, and then we have Javier Milei in Argentina, and he seems to mean it. And he combines something that I find particularly intriguing. He goes directly to the people. That is a very shrewd strategy. And we see even the demonstrations against him, like by public unions, like there are demonstrations, but they are very careful. So his approval ratings, his popularity with the people is still very high. If he can keep that up, right? If he can continue to communicate to the people that these reforms are going to be hard, but ultimately they're going to pay off, he might really be successful. So if he combines the revolutionary and the reformer, kind of the revolutionary that got into power that now transforms into the reformer, I mean, that would be great. A strong Argentina, an Argentina that so openly said they want to be on the side of the West, they want to be pro-Western, they want to be with us versus China, versus Russia. I think that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I really hope that he can keep it up and that he will be successful in the end. The first signs seem to indicate that he will be. Inflation is still a problem, but these things take some time. I mean, this is going to be a painful medicine that he has to administer, but I hope that ultimately it's going to pay off.
Well, can he cure Argentina from the decades of destructive socialism, Peronism, if you prefer? And will that be perhaps a trend that could sweep through South America? Because you look at other countries there which were previously wealthy, they sit on massive amounts of oil, they should be wealthy, and yet their citizens are living in poverty.
Yeah, Latin America, unfortunately, tends to kind of swing back and forth between extremes. Look at Brazil, right? You have Bolsonaro, and then you have Luis Ignacio da Silva. You had similar developments in Chile. Now you have Argentina. It's one of the very interesting characteristics of Latin America that they don't really have the kind of political continuity. So that's the thing. Is this going to be a fad, like Bolsonaro in Brazil? Is Milei going to have one term and then they're going to vote him out of office? Or can he make the case convincingly that it's either this new path of reform or its decline and potentially a Venezuelan scenario? As I said, the voters in Latin America are tricky. They change their minds very quickly, very often. But maybe he can do something differently than those who came before him.
And I'd like to just quickly talk about the US, where former President Donald Trump has been ordered to pay $355 million in a frankly absurd fraud case in New York, a clear political hit job. It's going to be appealed. But in the meanwhile, we've got a group of truckers now threatening to boycott New York, refusing to deliver in that city, which would have a huge impact if this protest gets off the ground. Let's hear from one of these truckers.
If you're in New York, you better get up out of there. Yeah, I think groceries are high now.
Ralph, we're seeing truckers and farmers becoming a political force, a powerful political force.
Yeah, and once again, those in power and the media don't get it. right? They don't understand that the more you try to prevent, whether it's right-wing parties in Europe or Donald Trump in the United States, the more you try to prevent them from participating in elections, the more popular they get, because they see it, and I think they're right in that assessment. They don't see this as an attack on Donald Trump. They see it as an attack on them. They feel that there is this guy, as funny and idiosyncratic as he is, but he speaks for us. So if they try to gag him, basically they try to gag us. And this is exactly what we see in Germany. This is exactly what we see in other parts of the West as well, where they say it's not about the politicians. It's about the sense that those for whom they speak, for those for whom they stand, that if you try to silence them, you create the impression that you try to silence the people, and that impression is correct. Just one last example for this. You see it in the Netherlands as well. As we predicted on this channel, right, when I was talking with you after Geert Wilders' election success, we had this conversation, and they tried everything to prevent Geert Wilders from becoming Prime Minister of the Netherlands. It looks like they will succeed, but the result is going to be that people say, we vote for somebody, and yet again, these people are not getting into power. So they will get angrier, and at the next election, of course, more people will vote for them. I mean, I wish Donald Trump all the best. I think given what's going on for the American democracy, actually him winning the election would be a good thing, because you need to show that either you play by democratic rules, and if you try to subvert those rules, then you need to be punished. And I think electing Donald Trump would be the correct punishment for everything from Hunter Biden's laptop to what's going on now with these frivolous court cases. I think that would be the right sign by the people to those who are in power.